Hi, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for watching this conversation. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to have you here today. I am Elio Neto, being recently transplanted about exactly 6 weeks ago. And I have with me here Pedro Silva, who donated the kidney because he donated the kidney. I got the kidney for to save my life, but he didn't donate directly to me. We're going to explain that later. It's a pair exchange donation we have here in Canada. So welcome, Pedro. Introduce yourself, please.
Hello, everyone. Hello, Helio. I'm Pedro Silva, and yes, I was a kidney donor. So in my case, it was 5 weeks ago. So we're going to say there's a chain that happens there, but yes, it was paired with Helio, my good friend for many, many years now. And yes, and I'm feeling so it's 5 weeks now, and I'm feeling great.
Brothers for life now, Pedro.
There we are, for sure.
Okay, so in this discussion here, I'll be asking questions about, we're going to try to break some dogmas and paradigms about transplantation and also about kidney donation or organ donation. I have my shirt here. It says organ donation saves lives. And Pedro has his shirt in Portuguese. Kindness generates kindness, which is very, very nice. Okay, Pedro, first question for an organ donor. Uh, what was your main fear? And second one, do you think that there is lack of information about organ donation?
Fear and information, yes, for sure. I think I had some fears in the beginning of the process just by lack of information. I think that happens with many people. I'll say purely ignorance. So I was not aware. I don't think I have heard anything about what it means to be a kidney donor and all that. So it was not on my radar. Um, and so yes, I think the first thing is like, how come you can live without the kidney, right? I mean, if we were born with two, there might be a reason for it. Um, so yes, there was the fear of how what will be the my life after that, right? What kind of things will change? What things I can't do anymore? And then, at least in the program that we have here in Calgary, in Canada, it was a long process. So I'd say about a year and a half that it was from the day I enrolled or registered to be a donor up to the date we did the surgery. But throughout that process, there was a lot of information, a lot of information in multiple ways, in multiple, so let's say from surgeons, from the specialists, from social workers, from psychologists, everyone kind of supporting me throughout the process and clarifying every question that I had. And then I think it was very quickly to realize that there's nothing to be afraid of, nothing to be afraid of at all. Life after I have one kidney now, I'm still sort of in recovery mode from the surgery itself, but the life without one kidney or with only one kidney, it's normal. Like you will read there's a little bit here and there of things that like less risky than cross the street.
That's correct. Yeah, and by the way, I had a very interesting situation. Yesterday, I was on a meeting,
Yeah.
and on my right side was a consultant with only one kidney. He had a horse accident, lost one. And on my left side, sitting on the table, there was a lady with the same genetic disease as mine.
Wow. Yeah.
I was just, yeah, crazy, crazy. Because
Yeah.
I was telling her I got transplanted, I have a disease. I was born with a genetic disease, which is not very rare. And then she said, "What's the name of the disease?" I said, "Polycystic kidney disease." "Oh, I have it too." And I thought she was joking, right? Are
Yeah.
you sure? You have the same?
Yeah.
And yeah,
Yeah. I
very.
think it's the lack of information and the myth or the wrong things they're saying about this. It's really well. First, it's not like a conversation topic, right? You don't go to a pub and start talking about your disease or that. Yeah, I donated a kidney. It's not like a common topic. But the more and more you look for it a little bit, you see, yeah, there's first I don't know, there's millions of people with with disease that need a transplant, and millions of people that did that as well, right? That did
Hmm.
donated a kidney, and life moves on normally, right? Normally, no, it feels much better now.
It feels like you did something outstanding, right?
Yeah,
Uh, yeah, it's just I was going to I want to text my doctor, or next time I see him, I want to know if I can donate blood again, even though I'm transplanted.
yeah,
Because if I can, I'll try to help.
yeah.
So your question for me, Pedro,
Um,
make an easy one.
an easy one. Okay. Well, first is how are you doing today? Like 6 weeks from the surgery, from the transplant, in both physically but also psychologically, mentally.
Oh, psychologically, I feel perfect. I feel very good because I had this genetic disease, which was like a bomb about to explode, right? So this polycystic kidney disease for the last 20 years, every time I had blood work, the kidney function was always declining a little bit. And probably when I met Pedro, I had just trying to calculate back, maybe I had 30, 40% kidney function, and it slowly was progressing. So psychologically, that's a huge pressure because again, I went to okay, who's going to donate to me? How is the transplant? I'm going to have to do dialysis like I did for 8 months. How is dialysis? How I'm going to feel? A lot of questions, right? Even though I was reading and I was always very optimistic, but psychologically, so now I don't have this pressure anymore, right? I have to monitor, do blood work, see my new kidney is working. By the way, is working great. But I feel happy because I don't have a polycystic kidney anymore, right? I have a normal kidney now. That's so good to it's a good feeling. And physically, I feel great, better every day. And uh, as Pedro knows, I'm very active. I'm ready doing stuff around the house. I just cannot control myself. But yeah, the pain, it's almost gone. I feel, yeah, with more energy. Everything is good. I'm just waiting now. We have a heat wave here in Calgary. I'm just waiting that to go. Also now some of the smoky air. But once we get better environmental conditions outside, I'll start to go for walks again and hopefully running soon. And as Pedro is doing now, I'm rediscovering my body now and trying to see my new limits and how I feel. But I'm working and I feel, yeah, much better.
Yeah, I don't think it's. I don't think I can really imagine the pressure, right? When you think you're living with a condition that is not something to be joking about, right? So it's a serious condition, and you
Yeah.
have that always on the back of the mind, right? I mean, you start doing plans. Okay, where am I going to be 5 years from now? Like, yeah, you think about your kids, your family, job, and all that, but you have a huge extra thing to think about in terms of how about what kind of medical services they are there, how is dialysis going over there, and transplant list or all those kinds of things, right? So
Yeah.
just by not having to worry about that, it's yeah, I
Yeah,
don't think
and
people can imagine how that is.
yeah, and one thing I decided for my life is no matter what happens from now on, I'll always be happy. I'm always thankful to be alive. That's number one. I used to go to the dialysis center and I used to joke I was the happiest person there because I was. I was always very thankful for the professionals taking care of me, for the technology, for the equipment, for the free service healthcare services in Canada. And I always ask the nurses and always ask people, how can I give it back to the system? You want to, on dialysis, I did some 10K running with no kidneys. And I was like, do you want to take a picture? Do you want to publish this? I wanted to help and I still want to help. That's why we are publishing this here to help people that want to know more information. And now, one of the things I feel like my mission is to break the dogmas about transplant. Because yesterday, I started to feel that already. I went to meet some people for work, and people already look at you and it's like, "Oh, you're transplanted," and there is that shock because people expect a transplanted person to look different or to look sick. And for the rest of my life now, I'm gonna have to always, prove to people, prove them wrong, and say, honestly, not a big deal at all. I feel very healthy. I'm lucky. I don't have side effects with the medications I take, and yeah, I'm ready to have a normal life. I just have to be. We have some cares. We can talk about that later, but that's very minimum compared to everything I've faced already.
Yeah.
So yeah, but having this
Yeah.
look at people's face, like especially yesterday, I transplanted really only 6 weeks only. Yes, and I'm here, and then I show people the scar, like, look at this. I'm not joking.
Yeah. And you said something like not a big deal. I know for me it was shocking when after the surgery I was at the hospital there, and it's I would say the whole section there, the whole floor, it's for kidney disease, right? And there may be one or two people that were there in surgery, like myself, but 99% of the folks there were chronic disease, right? So folks that have a kidney condition, right, but some sort of a kidney failure to some level of degree, and you can see, and that was because I was in pretty good shape after the surgery, so I was bouncing around in different rooms, so interacting with different roommates, if you will, and it was shocking to see the folks they are there often, like 4 or 5 times a year. They have to go to the hospital and be there for a week, and this has been their life for the past, I don't know, 5, 10, 15 years. I mean, how many years can that go, right? And then and it's shocking. It's in a bad way, sad way to see that they're just, I'm assuming they're on a waiting list for a transplant as well, but with a life that is not normal at all, right? I mean, going to the hospital to be there for weeks on a regular basis, or just living a life that's a lot more limited, right?
Hmm.
Whereas I look at you now, it's like this is night and day from
Yeah,
from the scenario that it could be if you don't have a transplant, right? If you have to wait, and the
yeah,
longer you wait, I think the harder it gets, right? Because then
yes,
your body gets weaker and weaker, and naturally, I mean, you're getting older, and then it
yeah,
might be a point that, okay, now you can't do a transplant anymore because your
yes,
body won't survive the surgery, right?
hmm,
Yeah,
yeah.
it
The,
was
my
it was a
my
shocking experience.
okay. My nurse is calling here. Just a second. Must be
All right.
important. I'll.
Okay.
Oh, hi, Sherry. Yes, that's me. Good. Yes. Point 0.5. Point 0.5. Yes, because I'm adjusting the medication. I'm adjusting the medication. Yes. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Today at about 4:45 p.m. Thank you very much. Thanks. Yeah, I apologize. It was from the pharmacy. I'm adjusting my anti-rejection medication. Now I have to pick it up. So that's part of my life, but I don't complain. It's easy. Just like I do blood work every week. And then from the blood work, they measure the amount of anti-rejection medication in my blood. It needs to be between 7 and 10, a medication called tacrolimus. And I think today the result was about 6, so a bit below. And now I have to add a little bit more. So I have to pick up a medication which is only 0.5 milligrams. Uh, yeah, but you were saying, and I want to ask that question, Pedro. You already described a little bit, but what did you learn? How was your life experience? And you're saying about uh, observing people with challenges and diseases, and in terms of their life experience, what did you try to pass on to your kids, right? Because they saw everything, even though
Yeah.
they're young. But I believe, and I know, as I know you as an intelligent person, you make this whole story a learning for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's important. Yeah, for sure. My kids. I mean, I'm wearing the shirt here that says kindness. and they hear a lot about this at school, right? My kids are young, so they're grade just finished grade 2 and 5 now, and at the school they go, it's a Montessori school. They talk a lot about kindness, and it's something that you hear here and there, and it could be simple things like they do at school, just open the door, and it could be something bigger, in my understanding, like what I did, right, to donate a kidney. But essentially, it's the same value to be kind, right? In many ways, you can demonstrate that. Not everyone can donate. I think most people can donate an organ or can donate blood and all that. I say most people certainly can do that. But there's many ways you can show your kindness. I choose one. I think it's life changing for me, and I'm sure for my kids. I think they understand it now. I think the older they get, they'll have a much better understanding, and I hope it sticks with them that they will see this as a good thing.
Yeah, just print a picture from the hospital and just leave on an album or leave somewhere because with time in 20 years, it starts to fade away from memory, right? But that's
Yeah,
so important.
yeah,
Uh,
I'm sure it is. Yeah, and it's interesting because it sparks a lot of conversation, right? My kids talk to the entire neighborhood. So even though folks that I don't know at all, uh, but they're, let's say, the parents of their friends, right? They see me walking around here, and it's like, oh, I heard. I'm not sure if I understood it right. My kids have said something about a transplant,
yeah.
and I said, yeah, I did. Yeah, it's not something that I'm like posting outside, right? Uh, no particular reason why not, but I choose not to. And then folks look at me like to say, okay, my kid probably didn't understood that well, right? There's something they missed something here. There's something off. Say, no, that's right. Yeah, I don't need a kid. They look at me like you can see like shock in their eyes and like,
Yeah.
wow. And everyone has the same reaction. Like, this is beautiful. This is a great thing to do. This is awesome. Like all sorts of positive reactions,
And
right?
yeah.
Which
And
leads you to think like, okay, so yes,
it
go on.
sparks, it
Yeah,
lifts your day, right?
yeah,
Sparks the day.
yeah. It's so it feels good. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not doing this for being recognized, but it feels good when people tell you like, oh, this is an awesome, beautiful things, right? And but
Yeah.
also I like the idea that it will become a table conversation at other families, right? They'll start talking. Yeah, I know someone that actually, yeah, is just walking around here and he donated the
Yeah.
kidney and
Yeah.
he seems fine, right? So I hope this will triggers more and
Yeah.
more people to look into it and see that this is uh, the impact, the effects of it are a big deal, but the process itself, it's not. It's something that,
Yeah.
as I
Yeah.
said, I think everyone can do it.
Uh, how do you see this in terms of, because I was imagining if everybody donates and the technology would be further developed, right? How do you see your contribution to the technology of transplantation? Do you think about it? Have you ever?
The technology of the process itself, like the medical technology there,
Yeah, yeah.
no,
It's
I don't, I don't
it's a
think about it. So I ask
deep
a
question.
lot of questions about the risks itself, like
Yeah,
what it means, what it means in my life, and also because being a father, right? I mean, yeah, I'll be fine for the next 20 years. No, but I want to be fine for the next 50, 70, 80 years, how many,
yeah,
like a normal person, right? So I had a lot of questions about that. I'm the kind of person that don't want to know how the sausage is made, right? So they try to explain a number of times, like what exactly is the surgery and the technology, and I'm like, no, thank you, but no, thank you. I do understand the surgery is the one I did, and I think that mostly people do. It's relatively simple, so it's that laparoscopy, right? So it's some small incisions, and then there's a slightly bigger one, kind of, I don't know, say 5 centimeters or so, where they remove the kidney itself. But it's a relatively simple surgery in that process, right? But the technology on how it's go, I
let's
know
let's
it's
let's
not a
let's keep
simple process.
let's keep the audience, Pedro. Let's keep the
Yeah.
audience engaged. I'm gonna show my scar and then you show yours, okay?
All right. All right. Yeah.
Yeah, good,
Sure.
good. Because there's people. It's gonna be a long interview. Mine is here. You see?
Yeah, yeah, we can see.
Yeah, it's already. I don't have to put anything out anymore. I can have a
Yeah,
shower. That's very good.
yeah, and my
It's good.
scar is kind of here.
Yeah. Oh,
It's right here.
okay.
And then there's this like a little dot
Small
here,
ones.
where's the and there's a
Mm-hmm.
one lower down where the laparoscopy. But the let's say the
Okay.
bigger scar is this one here. Yeah.
Okay. Nice.
But let's
Uh,
say in terms of scars, right? So for me, it was right from the get go. The scars, I don't feel any pain whatsoever in the scars. Scars is like
yeah.
simple. It looks, I think it looks kind of odd now because it's a different color, right? And my kids look at me. It's sort of sometimes, especially now it's hot. I'm usually shirtless, uh, but but it's yeah, no big deal,
It's
and it's not a painful, like doesn't require a lot of caring.
how is that saying? It's a scar of the heroes.
Well, it could be, yeah, yeah. Not sure about heroes, but yeah, yeah, it's a scar. It's a scar for life that will bring me good memories.
Yeah, yeah, but also in terms of the discussion for the technology, the way I see is it was one more transplant, and I don't know if you saw in the hospital, but they already achieved more than 1,000 transplants
Yeah,
for
yeah,
their program. And the way I see it's more people donating, more people transplanted. They have more data in terms of the medication.
hmm
We help develop the process, the knowledge about all the process itself.
yeah.
And then for future patients, there will be more information and better decision making because more people did it, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah,
So
there was a lot of yeah, they had a lot of questions. Let's say they asked me if I was okay to sharing those like privacy things, right? About how I was feeling after the surgery, right? Specifically, like okay, your level of pain, um, where is the pain? So they're kind of learning from that process, right? And then they will cross reference and say, yeah, we have. So, for instance, the key side effect that I particularly have today, it's not about pain at all. It's about being tired, and they kind of explained that to me. That's my body adjusting to living with one kidney only. Um, and they said that's normal. So we have some data, but we keep adding this your data point to this. So how long it lasts, how difficult that is, right? We know it's part of the process. It's the body healing internally,
mhm.
and it's yeah. So I think it's another part of contributing to the
Yeah,
process.
and also
Data.
as I said, we are in a heat stress wave here.
Yeah,
The heat stress makes everybody, it's called fatigue, right?
yeah,
Everybody feels tired. So,
yeah.
uh, who received your kidney, Pedro? Do you know?
Sorry,
Or,
who received? No, I
no?
don't know.
Okay. And
Uh,
exchange any letters so far?
no, there wasn't. Yeah, there was an exchanging letter. So I know in some people have one, like you did. In my case, no. They asked if I. They said, "You want to write one, or do you want to wait and receive?" And I was like, "No, it's for me it was not." Yes, there was a little bit of curiosity, but not a big thing. So I from time to time, so every time I talk to the team there, they'll give me some updates. Like on the medical side, they say, no, yeah, who received your kidney,
Doing
and I know
good.
that person is doing really well as well, like recovering perfect. It's all as expected. But no, I don't know any details about that
Yeah,
person.
I'm getting letters from my donor, right? We exchanged it. I completed 1 month anniversary, and
Yeah,
she sends another, and I learned it's a lady.
yeah,
And then now my wife started to get jealous because there is this lady sending me letters.
yeah.
And I feel from the conversations, I sent two, she sent two to me. And from the conversation, we're gonna go for coffee at some point, I know we're gonna meet each other.
Nice. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right. In my mind, I keep thinking that I did it for you. That's what
Thank you,
goes in
Pedro.
my mind.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
But also you did for, I think, humanity, for everybody.
yeah.
Because
I
now,
think
yeah,
there's a chain, right? And
yeah,
this chain gets moving. They mentioned like a number of things, like the fact that you did this, and so you received the kidney, and someone else received the kidney on that chain. So that means everybody on the wait list move up
yeah,
two steps, right? So
yes.
everyone gets it's a little bit closer to to receiving their new kidney.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's if you think on that way, it's a huge impact because it's not only on us, right? And one thing I want to ask you, it's about your family, right? How it's one thing for you, but impacts everyone surrounding you, right?
Yes, yeah, especially my son, you know. I think because this is a hard conversation to have, but I'm not fearful. But you know, my son has 50% of having the same genetic problem, right?
Yeah.
But same for you, for me now. I think in 30 years time, 40 years time, when the technology will be so much further ahead, you know, with xenotransplant, which is transplant from organs from animals to humans, or the technology is just advancing so fast that I don't fear for the future of my son, or you know, even if you or myself need kidney, you know, support in the future, everything will be much easier, right? It's
Yeah.
developing fast. So
And I think in two ways, technology, yes, for sure. I think that's a big thing, but hopefully a little bit more of awareness, and then we'll have more folks. And maybe the let's say the process I went through today, I thought it was long, right? So as I said, it took like a year and a half, right?
hmm
It was, it had to be like that for many reasons, some details now, but it was long, and there's a lot of myths around it. So hopefully awareness and people understand a little bit more about and make it easier, right? So it doesn't make it that you have to go through that for that long of time on the process of actually donating the kidney, and then you understand that yeah, it is this is what it is, and then you are aware, and then you can make an easier decision and said, yeah, I want to donate mine as well,
hmm Awesome.
because I do believe a lot more people should look into it.
Yes. And now I'm going to give you a difficult task because I realize that people still don't understand the pair exchange program.
Mm-hmm.
It's still, I posted that on LinkedIn, and a lot of people came to me like, I thought Pedro donated to me. And I
Yeah.
think on my post it's clear it was not, right? Uh,
But yeah, at times I have to explain to people. I realize, yeah, it's not that
just
easy.
explain, please, what is the pair exchange program?
But yeah, okay. Let me try. Let's say, let's not exactly how our case was, but how most case works. That's my deal. I think of four people, two pairs. So there's two donors and two people that need to receive a kidney, right? So here's uh, here. Let me look at it here. Here's we are a pair. Elio and I are a pair, but we are not a match. So I can donate exactly to you. But then also here, there's another pair, just like that. Say friends, family, doesn't matter. But there's another someone that needs to receive, and so we just it's I like the idea of a chain, right? So I go there, and that person goes here. So it's they find a match. Sometimes in our case, I think the easier one is like four people. So you do kind of cross that. It could be more. It could be six, eight people, right? That kind of so the whole chain that evolves there. But essentially, I'm donating to someone that has, let's say, his spouse or her spouse is donating to Elio.
hmm
So it involves two pairs, a chain.
Yeah.
And
And in our situation,
in our situation was a little bit different because we had someone that was an anonymous donor. So the lady that donated to you had no relationship with anyone. So she just decided, I think that's a person that's special, and I think we should have more awareness of how that is. She just decided, hey, I'm healthy. I know a lot of folks need a kidney. I'm going to donate a kidney to whomever, right? So she said, in my case, I was like, no, I want to make sure that I don't need a kidney, but I want to make sure that Ellie gets one. And she was like, no, I'm just donating a kidney. So by doing that, then I donated to someone else that was on the list. And that means someone that was on the waiting list, now it's the first one to get, right? So the person that actually got my kidney was the first one on the waiting list for that match, right? Obviously, there's some medical matches and so, but uh, that person would be waiting who knows how long more. And now she got it. It's all because of let's say, yes, I was available, but that person that donated to you, she made it all happen, right? So there's now two folks living a much better life, and
Yes.
and and two folks that are up on, or everybody on the
Yeah.
waiting list is now higher up.
Yeah, and I'm just becoming emotional now because I imagine the day, I also see that lady that I live with her kidney now. The day I meet, that's gonna be a special feeling. Yeah.
Yeah,
So as your shirt says, kindness generate kindness, and I think we need more of that in our world, right?
yeah, yeah. And it's
Yeah.
um, and it's a simple thing. If you go and do some research, or we can talk about it here, but it's no, I mean, yeah, it's I can speak for myself. It's a lot simpler, a lot safer, a lot like no risk. So than what I thought
Hmm.
before, right? Before not knowing anything, just my first reaction to it was like, "Ooh, I'm not sure if I can do that." And no, I was wrong.
Yeah, and as far as I know, the pair exchange program, as far as I know, it only happens in Canada, maybe in the US. Do you know any other place? And uh,
I think in US is also very limited in some
hmm
states. And then I kind of briefly look at it, but it's very rare. I know Sweden is the other place that has like a very similar
Sweden?
program. Sweden, yeah,
Okay, yeah,
and everywhere else it could be pairs, but it's all there's some this has to be some kin relationship, right? So it's got to be between your brother. It's not like
yeah.
I can donate to my friend, like in our case. This in I know my understanding is that in the U.S. in most states you can't do that. It has to be a close family related.
Okay, yeah. So if you're listening to us and you probably, hopefully, are from different countries, write in the comments here if you have a pair exchange program. If not, I can share the information from the pair exchange here in Canada, and you can talk to your politicians, talk to people on decision makers. That this is such a great program, right? It just creates so many opportunities and gives life to people, right?
Yeah,
So
because if you were for the kidney pairing, I mean, it's a very complicated puzzle, right? Because the matching is obviously the blood type, but there's a lot of other stuff that goes into it. So you are opening the possibilities by I don't know how many times, right? By just able to
mhm.
have folks that are not family related, so you can open that chain and then make it a lot easier. This is, as I understand, makes a huge difference on how long you wait.
Hmm.
Uh, what drives the waiting list, right? So it enables more donors, yes, but more so it enables more transplants, more matching, and that's a huge difference. Because sometimes you have people who are willing to donate, but it doesn't match, or it's too far away, so it's
Yeah,
on the other side of the country. So this makes a lot easier the matching cycle. Yeah,
and it becomes a huge virtual cycle, right? Because now more people are transplanted, more people are talking about it, the
yeah,
technology is advancing,
yeah,
everything is going the right direction. And,
exactly. Yeah.
so uh yeah, you have any questions for me now for
You
transplant?
mentioned before about fear. I asked you what was your fear about it before the process, or do
Be-
you had fear?
Before,
The
because I
surgery, the
also
transplant. Yeah.
no, because just to uh, put everyone on the same page. Before the transplant, I had a bilateral nephrectomy, which means the removal of both kidneys I had. They're very large, very diseased. And that surgery, Pedro, I think was more traumatic
Yeah.
because I had kidneys one day, next day I had no kidneys. I had 44 stitches. They cut me in half. It was very heavy on me. I became anemic, and that one was hard because then I had to start dialysis. I didn't do dialysis before.
Yeah.
Uh, so when you are, there is a saying, when you are in your water, you better swim, right?
Yeah.
So I had no fear. I just, um, you know, what I, what the problem sometimes for me was you have to go one day in advance for the hospital, right? One day prior to the surgery.
Mhm.
So that night when you are waiting, that wait when you're different place, you look at the walls, you are in a hospital bed, that waiting creates a little bit anxiety, but I knew I had no other choice. So yeah, and I had no fear, and now I still have to deal with rejection, right? So I can lose the kidney for no reason anytime. And the way I try to handle is I'm gonna do my best, right? And I want it to last for 30 years or more. And if something happens and I lose it, I go to dialysis again. I'm not gonna die. I'll be happy. That's my mindset. Because I also, in this discussion, I think once you're transplanted, you should not be limited by fear and say, I'm not going to hike a mountain, I'm not going to do what I want or ride a bike because I can fall. And what I like also here in Canada, the doctors, they don't try to stop you from happiness. That's so important because mental health is such a big problem today. People start to recognize it be more than physical challenge that our body has, right?
Yeah.
So I just want to be happy. And, of course, I'm not gonna jump from an airplane, do some more crazy stuff because now I have to be careful because what you did to me, I have to be responsible. But I can run, I can ride my bike,
Yeah.
right? And yeah, I'll try to do things that I love doing.
Nice.
Yeah. Uh, and for you, what did you learn in terms of the post-transplant care? And leading to my question as well, do you think that can benefit you because you're gonna be more conscious about what you eat and what you put inside of your body now?
Yeah. Yeah. I think for sure I learned lots on this process, and I think it's a message for if you're ever for folks that are considering working on the donation. So it's a very super safe process. I can't extend enough. So the whole process I mentioned for me took like a year and a half of, and it's not a year and a half of waiting. It's a year and a half of there's some waiting, but there's a lot of tasks going on. So you can donate a kidney only if you're super healthy, right? If there's like anything a little bit there, you're not no longer a candidate, right? So they
Hmm.
stress this a lot. And healthy in two ways. Healthy that the organ that you're going to donate is not going to send something bad to the person the one receiving it, obviously. But there's a lot in terms of like, are you 100% healthy that you can donate a kidney, right? If that's the case, so if they assess that you are healthy enough, like it was my case, life after that is like normal. I give there's not exactly the same. There's some minor changes, but essentially, in my case, it's a normal life. But a lot of folks can't do that. Not a lot of folks, but some folks can't do that. Say if you have some, I don't know, some high blood pressure, there's some conditions there that will say, no, yeah, your kidney is perfect. It will be great to someone else, but no, it might put you at risk. Not now. It might put you at risk, I don't know, 30 years down the road. So we're
Hmm.
not doing it. So if you're thinking about it, I think you can go with a good sentiment of trust that you're only going to do it if the doctors, and many doctors, I don't know, I lost track of how many doctors I've seen in this process, if they're all very confident that I will not have a personal impact on my life quality after that. I think this is very important people realize. So if there's any chance that some things will go wrong in the future, no, stop right there, and you're not doing. Obviously, you can drop out at any time, right? So they asked me right before they give me the every time I come to. I was asked that question twice a week for a year, and right before they put you the anesthesia, it's like, are you sure? Because
Yeah,
you can give up and not donate a kidney right now.
that's
So anytime during the process.
that will be the best chance to prank them, Pedro, and then and say, "Oh, I'm not ready,"
No, change
and
my
then
mind. Yeah, change my
change
mind.
my mind.
Yeah, no, but it's important, and they do this right from the get go, and they tell you all the scary things, and they're not really scary, but they tell you everything that can go wrong, the risk of the surgery, and all that kind of stuff, right from the get go. Because obviously there's a cost, right? I did a number of tests, so I was a cost to the medical system for a year and a half. That translates to making the surgery. So if I at some point I say no, I'm not going, yeah, it would be just on the cost side. But so one thing is that yes, I know that I'm very healthy. So I did test that no one ever does on a regular checkup.
Yes.
Not a
Yeah.
chance, right? So you feel good on your good understanding of how
That's.
healthy you are. I think that's an important thing. They also say if you we can not tell you, right? Say we find something that's not good, and you said you're not a candidate. We can just say, hey, you're not a candidate anymore. You don't need to know the details, right? Because some folks might say, no,
Mm-hmm.
I don't, I might have a potential issue. Like I don't want to know. But I'll say in my case, there were full disclosure and say, no, you're healthy. You can go and donate a kid. I think this is very important. And also, yes, it
You're
feels
healthy
good.
as hell.
Yeah, and it gives you a more awareness of. I mean, this is not something you think regular. Like you don't do surgeries. Just people don't just do that, right? So it creates an awareness of. I'm sure that I'm more conscious about lifestyle choices from now on that I was
Mm-hmm.
if I haven't done that, right? So I'll be a little
Yeah.
bit more mindful. I don't have to. Let's say living with the kidney in my case is essentially no change. To
Mm-hmm.
to be honest, there's one change. They say, okay, like if you're a hockey player, like an aggressive hockey player, and you're gonna get hits all the time, the physical hit of it can be a problem because then you only have one, right? And this
Mm-hmm.
might trigger some malfunctions on your kidney. Since I don't even know how to
Yeah,
skate,
but
I'm not a
but
hockey
also
player, but
I learned that when I had my kidneys, my diseased kidneys, you can
yeah,
also it's not your case, but if you were playing high impact sports, you can put a
yeah,
belt around, right? You can
yeah,
protect it.
yeah. There's workaround, but let's see, the physical impact is something that can damage any kidney, right?
Yeah.
Every one of us is impacted with that. But if you only have one, then it's a little bit riskier. That's the only thing, right? And then there's risk like that. If you Google, the first things will show up are like high blood pressure, and what was the other one?
Diabetes,
And
diabetes.
diabetes. Yeah,
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 yeah.
which are all somehow, and they're not necessarily. There's a small percentage that yes, you're a little bit more at risk than a normal person, than the
Yes.
normal population, right? And I feel better now because I know about this and I understand a little bit more about it. So yes, I'll be more conscious about because those two things are essentially your lifestyle in eating, right? So eating and sports. So I'll be a little bit more conscious that yes, I have that thing that I might have high blood pressure, so I might skip this super salty snacks
Mm-hmm.
here that I'm having every day, right? So I think it will give me an awareness. I feel I need that. Not sure. There's some folks that might be beyond that and do everything right just because. I'm not like that. I think it's a good uh, motivation to me. Like it's a spark to say, hey, remember, you got to keep paying attention to so and so. So I'm positive that I'm gonna live a better life, a healthier life now, because of that, and I'll have those reminders.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And in this sense, it's fair to say, right? For some people, once they donate, they change the mindset, they become more conscious about their
yeah,
decisions. And over the course of 20, 30 years, because they're eating less salt, they're not gonna have
a
other
lot of other
conditions that
issues.
they otherwise they would have, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. And
it's
obviously, and also there's a lot more follow-ups, right? So I mean, I just came today from a follow-up from the doctor. So I think for the first 2 or 3 years, if I'm not mistaken, there's a little bit more often that they will ask, because you don't have to, right? But it's sort of like, hey, we recommend you do a little bit more follow-ups, particularly on those two things. Again, it makes you even more aware that we are humans and we need to take care of our
yeah.
lifestyle choices, right?
Yeah, on my case, something which I never done before. Now I have a scale that connects to my phone and I
Yeah,
monitor my weight. And I was talking to my colleague who is a runner. He said, I have my weight on logged on my phone for the last 12 years. All the variations. I know how if I have stress at work that I eat more, what happens. So you start to control, and the more data you have, the better decisions you make, right?
yeah, yeah, definitely.
So,
Maybe it's a
and
trend. I also got that scale.
you got it.
Yeah, I also got that scale. Yeah, on the phone to start tracking. Not
Yeah,
12 years. I,
yes.
I have like 5 weeks, but yeah, to start.
No, that's very good because today on lunchtime I was eating and then I said, no, I have to stop now because now naturally I'm gaining weight. I have a normal kidney now.
Yeah,
With dialysis, I was losing a lot of protein and I was getting very flaccid. Now things are getting strong again, but I want to keep below 8 kilograms, because it helped my blood pressure to be good, and it
Yeah.
helps my overall health. Uh, yeah, and I didn't know, Pedro. I didn't think about this aspect of getting a full screening of your health and better understanding about yourself, right?
Yeah.
Uh, that comes for free with by helping some other people.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
There was, as I said, they do the screening to make sure that there's nothing that's gonna impact me down the line, right? So there was, oh, they'll find something, I don't know, on the blood test, on a stress test, on your heart, one
hmm
of those tests, right? So, oh, there's something fuzzy here. Okay, let's go deeper. Let's go deeper and let's go deeper, right?
hmm
So that's why I mean, there's a lot of tests that normally, I've been in Canada for now, what, 13, 14 years? Never even close. And I had some medical experiences before, nothing even close to that to make sure that you're 100% healthy
yeah,
indeed. Yeah,
that's good to hear.
yeah,
And also the surgery itself, my experience was my first surgery, the removal of the kidneys. The first time you go for a surgery room, you see all the equipment, everything, and you feel like this is like uh, it's very scary. And then the doctor told me, and I'll never forget, hey, calm down. This is just for me. It's not just another day in the office.
yeah,
I do this every day. Just don't worry. And that gave me a lot of comfort. That was good. And the doctors overall, again, they just do one surgery and sometimes they move to the other room for another surgery. For them is, and they monitor everything for, during the surgery. So as
yeah,
Pedro said, the risks are very, very minimal.
yeah,
Something has to go really wrong.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
it is a surgery, right? And this, I think, but yeah, I felt also super confident. And it's not only like one doctor. I like the idea that it was a team, right? So
yeah,
every time I would see, I mean, from the time, let's say when it was getting closer, I started meeting with the surgeons. So
yeah,
there was always three, I'll say maybe four surgeons. So they're all the four surgeons. They all do the same thing, and they're all there with you chatting. And as I understand, they kind of are sort of in a team. So during the surgery, there's he's going to be the lead,
yeah,
but there's like two or three backups there, right? Or they're going to take over on some particular. So obviously, very very specialized. But not only the surgeons, right? I mean, you have the nephrologist, and as I said, the whole team on the like the social worker on kind of helping you out navigate things, I know, at work and if you need insurance, those kinds of things, and also like psychology, right? They're gonna really, it's part of the process to see if you're like you're a good state of mind to make such a decision, right?
yeah,
And also supporting you after the fact because it can be traumatic. I think in they said sometimes it's traumatic in a good way. And people starts to kind of they're just living in a fairy tale, right? It was interesting. The psychologist said yes. Some folks like they feel like they're everything changed in their life, like when you're a donor. And yeah, you start living in a fairy tale, like you feel so it sort of kind of helps also ground them. Say
yeah,
yes, it is a beautiful thing, but life keeps going, right? So move on.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I think, yeah, going back also to that, you said you're fully healthy, have no issues. I think there
Yeah.
is a principle in medicine, which is you cannot cause harm in someone to
Yeah.
save another person, right? I think the
Yeah.
doctors have to obey by that rule.
Yeah, yeah, and it
Yeah,
was interesting. So the doctor, the surgeon actually mentioned that, right? It's a basic like do no harm, right? It's I
yeah,
don't know some Greek name anywhere there, but they have to swear on that. And he said,
yeah,
in what you're doing here is not something that most doctors are trained for, right? Because you can see that in a way we're removing something from your kidney without you needing to, right?
hmm,
So you, in your case, it's crystal clear. That's what the doctors do, right? But in my case, no, they're removing something that might, if they don't do it right, it might do me a harm, right? So it's a different perspective on their angle as well. As sort of, hey, this is someone that doesn't need to be here in the hospital, doesn't need to be in the surgery. He chooses to be here. So he said it in a way like it puts even more pressure on their end. Or it's like this is someone super healthy and we might we got to get this one right.
yeah.
So again,
Uh,
it's simple things, but it makes you feel good and makes you feel very comfortable with the overall process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You mentioned about the time, a long time of testing. If you could, and if there is anyone from Alberta Health Services or anyone from Canada listening to us, what would you suggest as change to make things better for the system?
I think it took too long for, I would say, no good reason. And I'll say it took too long for they give me like the green light and say you are able, so you are 100% healthy, you can be a donor. Um, I don't understand exactly why is that. I know the system is overloaded and all that, but there's some periods of intense activity. Let's say I'll do a bunch of tests. I'll spend like many times I'll spend a whole day at the hospital doing a bunch of tests, and then there's some follow-ups on all that. So in that week, 2 days of intense activity, and then I don't know, 3 months pass by and nothing happens. Right? Um, in a way, I don't think that's on purpose. In a way, it's a good thing. So it makes you really uh, make sure that
Digest.
that's what you really want to do, right? So you kind of, but I think this is a secondary side effect of it. It's not meant to be that way. I asked, let's say, the nurses, the coordinators on that, why it took so long, because I registered on November 2022. That's when it started the process, right? So
Hmm.
during 23 and a good part of 2024, he was tasks and making sure. Again, yes, it's a lot of tasks, but I felt that there was some gaps of, I don't know, 3 or 4 months that I was just waiting, doing nothing.
And I think part of that as well, just to clarify, probably is related to 2022. I still had kidney function, right? I still
Yeah,
had two kidneys, and then I was leading to that direction. But I think I only got really ready October 25th last year when I got both kidneys removed.
yeah,
So realistically, I think because after the removal, very traumatic, as I said, I needed at least 2, 3 months of recovery to go for the next one.
yeah,
So realistically, would be that this surgery should have happened probably October, February this year
yeah,
at the fastest.
yeah, yeah. And then I understand there's the matching, right? Because those chains, I understand that we are first on a chain that was sort of like 8 people, and then the more people you have, the easier it is to break one of those links, and then the whole chain fall apart, right?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
this is something that I understand that, right? Yes, sometimes things happen and the chain broke, and that's nothing you can do. But the whole process in my case to get ready and let's say be on the chain process, yeah, it might be related with your status. My understanding, it was not. It was. I never got a good answer on why
Because
it took
I
that
think
long.
also you could have I mean you would donate to somebody else anyways, right? So you could have donated before my surgery.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Oh,
We
I
could.
forgot about it.
Yeah, we could have that process could have
Okay.
been easy.
Yeah.
There is I think it's a good, turns out to be a good thing, because every time you go to do another round of tests, it gets you thinking again. They're going to ask you that question. Like everyone you see, they're going to ask, "Are you sure you want to proceed with this process?" Right? And I understand, because it's a burden on the cost side of the system, right? So they want to make sure that I'm not going to give up at the last minute. But so every time you go and ask that, but it makes you think again, right? Is that, hey, I'm really comfortable with what I'm doing, right? It's like, and I understand that's not for everyone, like, but I think everyone should think about it. And,
Yes.
that's the thing, the awareness, right? So I might think about it, go through the process, and let's say I'm healthy, but then I decided, no, I don't, for whatever reason, I don't feel I should. Okay, it's totally your call here. There's no pressure there, but it makes you think about the process, and then you realize, and I feel that the more you learn about it, the better you will feel about going on with the process. You see how impactful it is and how
Yeah.
not impactful it is for you, the donor.
Is it fair to say that you really understand what you did after? Because now you know the risks, now you know how you're feeling. Now, before
No,
everything is theoretical, right?
well, yeah, that's true. But I'll say I have a very good understanding before, but in theory, right? Say this is what might happen, and so, and like everything, right? You hear about it, and now I'm living with it, right? But yes, I have a better understanding, but it's not a big deal, right? I mean, the pain. There's a lot of talk about the pain. I'm not sure if I just got lucky or so, but no, and nothing too difficult about the pain. And, and I think I share. In my case, it's more like the being feeling tired and the fatigue, which also it was very clear before that I might feel like that. And if I go back to all the paper, all the conversations, all the notes I had, they all said that. But it's interesting, like you don't think about it, right? It's sort of you can't, or at least I couldn't envision how I'm gonna feel tired. Like, it's not something I could envision. And now I'm living through it, and I know it's temporary. So
Yeah, once you start swimming
no
again,
worries.
you're gonna
Yeah, no
yeah.
worries.
Which, by the way, I had a catheter for my transplant. I could not swim for 8 months,
Yeah,
and now I remember here I can swim again very soon. So that's gonna be
yes,
a great day for me.
exactly. Yeah,
I'll
yeah.
be
I
swimming
already
and
have
just
it. Yeah, same thing. I have swim on my schedule of next week. I'm 6 weeks. I'm off. I'm going to the
and
pool.
I'll
Yeah,
be swimming and I'll be thinking and thankful to you, in small little details, right?
yeah,
Uh, Pedro, I think, yeah, we are completing close to 1 hour. We
yeah.
we don't want to make this too long because people are gonna say, oh, 1 hour, and we want to just make it concise. So your final thoughts. You've been very informative. You gave us a lot of insights about your experience, and thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you for inspiring me to go through this process.
Yeah, no final thoughts. You
uh,
said you
I would
said
say just look into it. Start the conversation, right? So if you might find that there's a lot of folks that need that, and you might find there's a lot of folks that have the ability to be a donor. So I encourage people just to forget about the myths and what you see on the first two hits on Google, and start looking for real answers. You see that it is a beautiful thing, has a huge impact on life, on the recipient. It has a minimal impact on your life as a donor. So look into it and start having the conversation if you or
yeah.
someone close to you can be a donor. And yeah, go for it.
Yeah,
Highly recommend.
let's see how I'm gonna do in terms of exercising if I feel great. They have the World Transplant Olympics,
Yeah.
and if I get there and I get a medal, I'm gonna dedicate a medal to Pedro. So you're gonna keep it. It's gonna be yours.
There you go. Nice. Yeah.
So yeah, thanks everybody. Oh, last thing I want to say. I'm gonna leave on the link here on the description of this video an interview that I did with André Foligno from Brazil. It has subtitles in English. He ran a 42 full marathon, 42 kilometers, with no kidneys while on dialysis. I think better while on dialysis. I'm not sure if he still has kidneys or not, but he's doing dialysis and did the 42 kilometers. So
Yeah.
with that, thank you very much, Pedro. I hope everyone likes and we help a little bit to change people's lives. Thank you.
There you go. Welcome.
Thank you, Pedro. Thank you very much.
Certo.